Let's cross to Bondi now to join Christy Lloyd, who's live for us this morning. Christy, a very poignant moment nationwide. How is the country going to mark this horrific massacre 1 week on?
Yeah, Alex, as you say, today has been named a day of reflection, marking 1 week on from this tragedy here at Bondi Beach. As mentioned, we'll see flags flying at half-mast as a mark of respect. We'll also see candles being lit at 6:47, as the Prime Minister mentioned, and a minute of silence will be observed at that time as well. That will also be taking place across televisions and also across radios as well. Now, many different vigils and events will be taking place right across the country to mark the day here, but down at Bondi, 1 week on, we're seeing the flower tribute behind me here continue to grow. There's still so many people down here paying their respects to those 15 victims and to the wider Jewish community as well. We also had a smoking ceremony just a short time ago behind me here as well. There'll be a vigil held here later this evening, and we're expected to hear from dignitaries as well as religious leaders. There's also likely to be some musical performances as well. I want to just bring in now Alex Rifchin from the Executive Council of Australian Jury. Alex, thank you so much for joining me this morning. This is going to be such a hard day for so many people and for the wider Jewish community. How are you feeling? How are they feeling?
Look, everyone's feeling broken. Everyone's feeling grief-stricken. The families obviously have it worst of all. But we've all lost people who are incredibly dear to us. We've had the heart and soul of the community ripped out, and there's nothing that can be done to bring it back. We're going to have to work for years and years, I think, to each do more, contribute more, do good, to come somewhere near compensating for the loss that we've suffered, because we've lost our very best people here. You know, it's going to be tough for a long time to come. There's also a lot of anger in the community, and I think that will be felt tonight as well. People want to direct that anger somewhere. They want someone to blame, and that's natural, because people are left wondering, how is it that after 2 years of anti-Semitism crisis, the Jewish community wasn't believed, wasn't listened to the point where it took 15 of us to get slaughtered like that. So, you know, that rage is totally understandable.
Yeah, you mentioned that anger. We're also hearing that the Prime Minister will be down here this evening. Of course, we know that he hasn't attended any of the funerals of the victims this week, but he is returning to Bondi tonight for this vigil. How do you think he'll be received by the Jewish community?
I think there'll be a mix of reactions. It's difficult to predict, but, you know, when I speak to the community and hear their feelings in terms of culpability and blame, foremost at that list is the Prime Minister and the government, because they are the ones ultimately that we look to for national security, to do the things that we can't do for ourselves, which is to protect this country, secure our borders, ensure the people that are on ASIO watch lists don't travel abroad and train and come back and acquire weapons and slaughter us. And so the failings were immense, and the responsibility has to begin at the very top, which is the government. So the people will have every right to express themselves, and the Prime Minister, I think, is doing the right thing in coming and hearing that rather than hiding away from it. He's ultimately the leader of the country. He needs to see how people are hurting and what's been inflicted on them.
And as for, how he'll be received, we'll just have to wait and see tonight. But today's also the last day of Hanukkah. Traditionally, what does that mean for the Jewish community, and what does it mean now?
Well, it's the night when we light all 8 candles. So the festival goes for 8 days, and we light an additional candle each night until we get to the full lighting of the menorah tonight. So normally it's the completion of a festival. It's a day of joy, a day of celebration, but it's also a day of extreme mourning and extreme pain, and the families are going through unbearable things right now. You know, they're in a state of utter bewilderment and loss. They don't know what to do with themselves. You know, people are replaying in their minds what happened on that day. They're talking about the near misses, the sliding doors moments, which meant they weren't there or were there. We've all lost so much, and so there'll be no happiness here at observing the Hanukkah festival. And it's difficult to see how we'll ever be able to feel happiness with this festival ever again, but I guess that's what grief and loss is like, and step by step you try to emerge from it, and eventually we'll talk about living our lives in the image of those who died, people like Reuven Morrison and Eli Schlanger, such good, decent, community-minded people, and we'll try to increase the light and the goodness in the world to make up for what's been taken from us.
Alex, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, as mentioned, the Prime Minister will be down here this evening. Security will also be bolstered here today, right across Bondi. The authorities, though, are warning people not to be alarmed by the increased presence of police. They are simply doing this as a matter of precaution and to protect the community down here. Now, we're also hearing that rallies and protests are being organised today. There's one expected in Sydney. These are anti-immigration protests, and we're also hearing that they're calling for the Prime Minister to stand down. But we heard earlier from New South Wales Premier Chris Minns, who is urging for calm during this time.
Right now, people are burying their dead. They're coming together as a community. The Jewish community are coming together to mourn the loss of so many people in their family. I mean, proportionally, for the Jewish community in New South Wales, this is on par with October the 7th in Israel. So this is devastating. Everybody in that community knows somebody who's been killed. We need to give them an opportunity to grieve right now, as well as lowering the temperature in what is undeniably a combustible situation.
This is going to be an incredibly difficult day for the Jewish community and for people right across Sydney and the country. This event shocked the world when it occurred last week, when we saw the terror unfold down here at Bondi. But as mentioned, it is going to be a day of reflection. We'll see those candles lit, a minute of silence rather, later this evening, and it is going to be a day to stand together and stand united with the Jewish community. Alex?
Yeah, Christy, very well said. Terrific reporting. It is, of course, so easy in this fast-moving news cycle for us all to move on with our busy lives, but it's definitely worth remembering that today it is probably going to stand us in good stead just to pause and reflect on those events. Many thanks, Christy Lloyd.